Today we're talking about the perimenopause diet, and we're talking about foods that will help hopefully reduce the perimenopause belly that can happen, but also help with detoxification, hormone balance. We'll talk about fat, carbs, all of that. So stay tuned. I'm Dr. Shelley Meyer. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you coming back if you're coming back, if you've been here before. And if it's your first time, thanks so much for checking the channel out. Please like and subscribe to the channel to help it grow. And please check out our blog. I forgot to mention that on the last video. So it's Perimenopause Health. That's where we have a lot of this information on perimenopause, diet and supplements and tests and symptoms and all the things you might not be hearing about when you go to your doctor, or when you are just wondering what you're experiencing if you're in your late 30s, early 40s, or late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, late 40s, early 50s, and starting to see some new symptoms. It could be related to perimenopause. So that's why this channel is here, and that's why in particular the blog is there, because that is just devoted to perimenopause, whereas this channel has covered gut health and I've covered hormones in general and metabolic health. So anyway, I'm a functional medicine doctor, registered dietitian, and a family doctor, and I do this kind of thing every day in my practice. So I'm bringing that to you to help you so you can maybe get some of your questions answered, or learn what to ask your doctor, or not feel so alone when you're experiencing things that are new and different. But always remember, this is not medical advice. We need to talk to your healthcare provider. I don't know you, and I don't know what's best for you, but I can just tell you what I've used with a lot of my patients and done, and what I've experienced myself. So let's talk a little bit about what perimenopause is. I have a great video on the 34 symptoms of perimenopause. I have a good video on perimenopause phases, and I have a lot of blogs on this. So check out the blog again, or the videos. But what it is basically is when the hormones start changing, you can get irregular periods and vaginal dryness and mood changes and weight gain and hot flashes and insomnia are a lot of the common symptoms. And your estrogen can be roller coastering in the first phase. It can be really high and drop, and then your progesterone's gradually declining, and then in the later phases, estrogen is declining. So we see some different symptoms at different times, and you can kind of vacillate between the different symptoms. But when you hit menopause, that's when you have gone 12 months without an actual period. So that's the actual day menopause. And then everything after that is actually post-menopause. So a lot of times when we see in the media or online reference to perimenopause, it's actually reference to menopause is probably actually perimenopause. But it could be post-menopause if they're talking just about like hot flashes and lack of a period. So let's talk a little bit about things to consider looking at in your life when you're going through perimenopause as far as lifestyle change. You definitely want to make sure you're exercising. I like to say that it's better to do shorter duration like cardiovascular exercise. So definitely want to do your cardiovascular exercise. I would say at least 5 days a week, if not every day, getting 20 to 30 minutes in. But you probably don't want to do the endurance stuff, the long runs, long, excessive like hikes or biking or all that. You can if you feel good doing that, but sometimes that can aggravate your cortisol. So I like, 20, 30 minute bouts of cardio, maybe some HIIT exercises, yoga, Pilates, gentle strength training, kind of a mix of different things to keep the body talking, the muscles, everything talking to each other, and toned, because you tend to lose tone during perimenopause and menopause, and strong, because your bones can get a little bit weaker post-menopause wise. So you want to keep that, strength training going, so you keep everything connected and the joints and muscles working together and supporting the bones. So diet-wise, what do we want to look at? Well, we want to make sure we're getting enough protein. I like to say it's good to get half of this is a minimum, like half of your body weight in protein grams. Now, typically you're going to need more than that. I would say usually it's do half of your body weight and then add like 10 or 15 grams at least more protein per day, because we do need more protein when we're losing this muscle mass, and particularly if we're trying to build it, we need more protein. I like to focus on plant-based proteins, reducing at least inflammatory meats. If you can choose grass-fed and lean meats, great. But definitely keeping the fattier meats and the more processed meats out of your life if you can. Also looking at omega-3 fatty acids. Those are super important. I talk about those a lot. I talked about them in my perimenopause supplements video, which I'll put in the description. It's a great video on some supplements that can really help you through perimenopause, and omega-3 is a supplement that can. But I would look for omega-3 in your diet. So fish you don't want to be excessive with because of the mercury risk, but salmon, wild caught salmon, and tilapia tend to be safer choices as far as mercury goes. And having those maybe 2 times a week is good. You can get omega-3 fatty acid enriched eggs. You can get omega-3s in your walnuts, in flax and chia. Your body has to convert any plant-based to a different form. So the actual animal-based and in the eggs is a bit more efficient, but it's plant-based diets are great, and you can get omegas that way too. But I also recommend that you have a goal in mind for your omegas like you would with your protein. So getting 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of EPA plus DHA, whether it be between your diet and your supplement. So looking at those supplements, making sure they're up to par, and then also trying to get it from your diet. I really like for people to track a couple days, 2 or 3 days a week, and track using something like Carb Manager, their premium plan, which is really only $39 not a month. That would be a lot, a year, I think, unless it's gone up. Or something like that, I think it was Chronos. I'll put the other ones that I like Carb Manager a lot, or MyFitnessPal Premium, because that can break your diet down if you put everything in there, and it can break your diet down into how much omegas you're getting and how much monounsaturated fat, how much fiber, how much protein. So at least having it, or maybe just paying for a month of it and doing your normal diet on there a few days a week and seeing where you're at and seeing where you might need to improve. That's helpful. Fiber is another thing. You want to have a goal for fiber, and typically most Americans at least are getting like 15 grams of fiber a day. We really should be getting 30 to 35 grams of fiber a day for good hormone balance. And so that fiber will help you, as I've talked about in my videos, detoxify. It'll help get the toxins that we're all exposed to that can alter our hormones, help get those out of our system. And then it will help the excess estrogen sometimes that we have recirculating, help push that out, help our livers work better, and just help us feel better, help our bowel movements be regular too, and that'll make us less bloated. So those are good things to focus on as far as getting more of them in your life. Getting less is sugar. That's the main thing. Sugar and alcohol. So that's the thing I see the most. So I don't expect you to be 100% no added sugar ever. You need to have a little fun and eat some of the foods you enjoy, but keeping added sugars to a very minimum is good. I like to say if you're going to track, keeping it to 20 grams or less, or even 15 grams or less of added sugar. You're going to have your natural sugars in your fruits, and don't go way overboard with those, but like 2 or 3 servings of fruit a day is good, not juices, but actual fruit. But when it comes to any sugar from anything else, tracking that and making sure it's staying less than that 20 to 15 grams, or 15 to 20 grams. Also alcohol. So I see a lot of women dealing with the stress that they may feel in their lives or from perimenopause with excess alcohol, or too much alcohol may not seem excess to you, but I would really recommend keeping your alcohol to either 0, that's even better. I know, don't hate me, but or at least 2 to 4 drinks a week and not any more than that. So especially sugary alcohols, you want to keep those out, but alcohol in general, it's a great idea to keep that to a very minimum. And then the other thing to keep to a minimum or avoid in general would be like processed carbs. So those are carbs that are low in fiber, don't come from the earth, made from white flour. Like they act like sugar in your body, so it's kind of along the same lines as sugar. So what I would recommend is taking a look at that, and how do you know if you have a processed flour or a processed carb? Well, if it's from white flour, there's a big sigh. But also just looking at your label. The labels are super helpful. So total grams of fiber on your label, and I'll try to put a screenshot up here, so total grams of carbs minus fiber then gives your net carbs. So the lower that net carbs can be, the better. But you can also look at the ratio. So you want to have 1 gram of fiber for every 10 grams of carbs. So you look at the total, if it's 10, you look at the total carbs, and then you look at the fiber, 1 gram. So definitely keeping it. So let's say you're going to have some pasta. Well, a lot of processed pastas are 40 grams of carbs and like 2 grams of fiber. So you don't have a 10-to-1 ratio there. So closer you can make those two numbers together, the total carb and the fiber, the better off you are as far as reducing that menopause belly, that perimenopause belly, reducing that cortisol that causes that or contributes to that, and improving your health in general, improving your hormone balance, and improving how you feel. So those are things to think about. Let me see. Oh, the keto diet I was going to touch on. So that does work for some women. It's hard to maintain, and sometimes you will gain weight back anytime you go off of it. So unless you're kind of going to be committed to it for a very long time, it might not be the best for you. But you could do a modified keto diet. So lower processed carbs, like we said, higher fiber, and maybe keeping your your net carbs, which is that total carbs minus fiber number, to like 70 to 90 grams a day. That can work, and that can be helpful. If that makes you feel bad, if you gain weight from it, everybody's metabolism and body shape and what they need is different. So definitely try it if you want to and see if it helps you. But you also have to make sure it's a clean keto diet. Like the healthy fats are there, the omega-3s are there, the protein is there, the fiber is there. That's what I was trying to think of. And then another way to track what might be unique for your metabolism is that, what I've talked about in my metabolism videos, is that Lumen device. That can be helpful. Sometimes it may lose its helpfulness after a few months, but it can get you primed in a 2 or 3 month window on, okay, what's my metabolism doing? Am I burning fats? Am I burning carbs? You can see my video on that. I'm not going to make you go through all that, but if you are curious about how it works, I do have a video on the Lumen, and then I have a discount code that I'll put in the description too. So hopefully this was helpful. I'm making videos, at least a couple times a month, and I definitely would love if you subscribe, and share to keep the channel going. And then I would love it if you could check out perimenopause.help, because if you're on this video, you probably are looking into perimenopause, and there's a lot of other information on there too. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.